I am Professor Graham Watson. I'm the Science Course Director at Trinity College Dublin, so it's my job to coordinate the programme amongst all of the disciplines. And orientation is very important for the students for science, really because choice is actually a central feature of the science course at Trinity. There's a lot of choice that you can make and it will dictate what you can do in the future. And that choice can look very daunting. But what I would say is that there is advice throughout the course at every stage to try and get you to make the best decision for you, because what we want is you to have the best experience of science that we can provide you. So this is the initial orientation, and following my presentation about the structure of the course, there will be some individual talks from the various subjects available to you at first year, just to give you a little bit more background about those particular subjects. There'll also be advice from a collection of experienced academics. You'll have a one-to-one meeting with an experienced academic to discuss your choices. Okay? And that's very important. So they'll ask you about what you're interested in, what you did at school, where you think you're going with your degree, and try and make sure that your choices are the appropriate ones for you. Having said that, if you make a particular selection of modules and then find very quickly that they're not the ones you should have done, and that can happen, then you can modify the first semester module choice within the first few weeks. Okay? Once you go beyond that, you've sort of missed too much of another module, but we're very flexible within the first 2 weeks to try and make sure you're in the right set of modules. For the second semester, the module choices can actually be changed up until Christmas. There is some flexibility there. The choice you make today is not necessarily fixed in stone. That's what I'm saying. There is some flexibility within the system. As Science Course Director, I head the Science Course Office, and that's really your main contact point within the first few years of the science programme. So the Science Course Office obviously coordinates the TR071 entry. It handles things like student registration and module choices, and things like class splits for labs. So as you can imagine, we don't actually have an experimental lab that all of you can go in at the same time. So we have to split you into groups that are appropriate for your particular module choice and timetable, and that would be something that the Science Course Office does for you. We also have a role in terms of managing the course and making sure that it's up to date and relevant, and collating feedback back to the people who are actually teaching you, the schools and the disciplines. And it's really the first point of contact for you when interacting with the university on an academic level. The other place to get a lot of advice, other than the Science Course Office, of course, is your college tutor. You may not have come across this too much, but every student is assigned a college tutor, and that person is available for advice, but also to make you understand how the college works and to represent you if there's any need with respect to interaction with college. The last thing on this slide is don't panic. Okay, if you have an issue, if you have a problem, seek advice early, as soon as you can. And the Science Course Office is very happy to guide you in your academic side, but also will be able to direct you to other areas of advice if you need it for any other reason. Science Course itself has a web page, and there's lots and lots of information embedded within that web page. The obvious one for you guys is now the current students, which will have a breakdown for each year of the course, and we'll have things like the course booklets and module descriptions on there. We also do things like module choices later. As you come into the end of first year, you'll do your module choices online on the web page as well. There's lots of information there, and it's worth having a look. As I said, choice is a key part of the course, and at the end of your second year, you'll choose the degree specialisation that you'll do for the final 2 years. And these are the degree specialisations currently: biochemistry, chemistry, environmental sciences, functional biology, genetics, geography, geology, immunology, microbiology, molecular medicine, neuroscience, physics, physics and astrophysics, physiology, plant sciences and zoology. So you can choose any of these. Now, there is a slight limitation in terms of the student numbers in each course. if all 350 of you decide to do genetics, I'm afraid we can't do that. So there is a limitation in terms of each course has a maximum number of students that they can take within there. But you will be offered the choice, and then we will place you as best we can. A majority of people will get their first choice. The term structure, we've got a 12-week semester. There's 6 weeks of teaching, followed by 1 week which is called study week. Now that's not go skiing week. Okay, it is study week. There will not be any formal teaching in that week, so there won't be any lectures or labs or tutorials. There may be 1 or 2 other aspects there, so it's not a case of run away, but there may be some elements going on in study week. There's then another 5 weeks of teaching, making a 12-week semester in total. That's followed by the Christmas vacation, and then we do the same all over again for semester 2. And what you will have realised after a 3-week period for revision is we have an annual exam period. There are no semester exams in Trinity. So the annual exams will test you on all of the subjects that you've studied during the year from both the first and second semester. So going back to your choice, what we're really here today to do is to look at your first year modules. So in semester 1, we have a set of modules: biology, chemistry, geography, maths, physics, and mathematical methods. This mathematical methods is a standalone 1-semester maths course. And it's basically the minimum requirement for many of the courses in Trinity, but you can study maths across both semesters. Biology, chemistry, geography, maths, and physics go across 2 semesters. So you have to do 10 credits of biology in first, you can then do 10 credits of biology in the second semester. Same with chemistry, same with geography, same with maths and physics. These are then standalone modules: maths, methods, foundation physics, and geology. So you have to take 30 credits from the first semester and 30 credits from the second semester. But as I said, choice, there's a lot of choice, but it's actually important what choice you make. If you obviously want to study geography in later years, then you have to do some geography in the first year. If you want to study chemistry later on, then you have to study chemistry in the first year. So just to try and explain the prerequisites for different subjects, the subjects you have to study in the early part of the course to be able to study particular subjects later on. So these are the options. So we have 4 patterns that we've designed which are attempt to help students understand this. So you can study full maths in first and second semester and full physics in first and second semester in pattern 1. That's 40 credits. So you've only got 20 credits left. So you can do 10 credits of the first semester ones that are left and 10 credits of the second semester ones. Okay. What does that allow you to do? Well, you can do any of these subjects depending on what your 20 credit options are within this pattern. You can obviously do physics. That's no problem. If you take chemistry as your 20 credits, you can do chemistry. You can do environmental sciences if you do the right combination of biology, geography and geology if you do the right combinations of those. So it's quite complicated in terms of what you can do and how you get there. This pattern of doing maths and physics and 20 other credits is not recommended for biochemistry, immunology, molecular medicine or neuroscience. The reason being is those subjects actually require you to do first year chemistry. Technically they don't require you to do first year biology, but I would advise it if you're interested in those subjects. And genetics and microbiology require you to do chemistry and biology, so they're not allowed if you follow this pattern. The second pattern is a little bit more simple. We've just got full maths, and then you've got free choice across the others with physics taken out. Physics is only put into pattern 1. Depending on your choice, there's a whole range of subjects that you can do, practically everything except physics and physics with astrophysics. But obviously you have to do the right combination for the subject you're interested in. So if you want to do, for instance, neuroscience, you would have to do the maths, both chemistries and both biologies. Pattern 3 has this 1 semester of maths, so that leaves you even more freedom in terms of 50 credits of modules, and there's still a large range of things that you can do because a lot of subjects only require you to do 1 semester of maths. Obviously, if you say want to do chemistry later on, then you'll have to do chemistry in first year, so that's the prerequisite system. You still can't do physics or astrophysics here. Pattern 4 has no maths. In fact, there's only 4 subjects that you can do in 3rd and 4th year that don't require any maths. So this pattern severely limits your choice. And personally, I don't recommend it. So within the booklet, there's a table, a rather complicated table, that specifies what first year modules you have to do to make sure you can do a particular degree option. This is the form. The first page is really about what subjects you studied at school, because this gives the advisor some idea about your aptitude, where you're good, what sort of things you've studied before. Then the second page is basically the module choices, and the advisor will discuss this with you, ask you about what your interests are, what sort of things you're excited about in science, and then try and get you a choice that gives you as much flexibility in your subject choice later, but actually addresses your interests in science. Once you've filled this in, the advisor will sign it, and then you can take it back to the science course office desk, and they will process it and actually put your module choices into the college IT system. So my almost final slide is a little piece of advice. Attend the practicals and field trips. If you miss a practical due to illness, you have to bring a medical certificate to the science course office on the day of your return to college. If you've got a valid medical certificate, then you will be excused from that lab. If you don't, you'll obviously get a 0 for the assignment, for the lab. And practicals can form a significant component of the final mark. So if you miss them, you're losing marks for your final assessment of the module. Trinity approved lab coats should be purchased from the Student Union office. So there is a set type of lab coat that you are required to have. As I've just said, the labs and any continuous assessment exercises count to the final mark on the module. Okay, so they are a valuable way of building up marks before you get to the final exams. The other thing is you've got to work throughout the year. College courses are very much about understanding and applying knowledge. They're not about regurgitation. And so you have to work throughout the year. You can't cram at the end because the subjects build up through the year, and your understanding of things that may come in the second semester will depend on you understanding something in the first semester. So you have to build up your knowledge through the year, and my final point on that is that memorizing something is not learning it. It's simply remembering it. You have to actually understand what it means, and if you don't, it's going to be much harder to pass the exams. So seek help if you don't understand things. The final one is keep your appointment with your tutor. Your tutor is there essentially as an independent advisor within college. Okay? They can be extremely useful. On the other hand, some students go and see them on the first week and never talk to them again. And if you're one of those students that goes through college, no problems, no issues, that's great. But it's very useful to go and see your tutor so you know where they are if you need them, and that you actually can, that your tutor will actually know who you are as well. So keep your appointment with your tutor. So as I said, this talk is just about over. We've got a series of talks about biology, geography, geology, maths, physics and chemistry coming up. And they will give you a little bit of information. They're quite short, a little bit of information about the subjects, and hopefully give you a little bit more on an idea of where you want to go.